Welcome to Fueling Your Legacy, hosted by Samuel Knickerbocker. Each week, we expose the faulty foundational mindsets of the past and rebuild a new, stronger foundation essential in creating your legacy. We've got a lot of work to do, so let's get started. Welcome back to Fuel Your Legacy, and this week we are going to be talking about how to monetize your mindset. This is a catchphrase that is really the mantra of our Friday guest, Bart Merrell. I'm super excited for this week. I've thought about this a lot. I've thought about when exactly during the time of the year I wanted to invite Bart on because of what his message is. So that's super excited about that. On Wednesday, we're going to be doing a book review for Crushing It by, or Crushed It or Crushing It. I think it's Crushing It, because this is the second one. And it's by Gary V, or Gary Vaynerchuk, if you know him that way. Either way, but just awesome book. Now, Gary V is very focused on certain things as far as social media marketing and going out and how to do that the best way and working and different things. But what's really important about his message with Crushing It is about personal branding. So we're going to talk about that. Then we're going to talk about on Friday with Bart Merrell. We're going to share, or I'm going to have him share some of his experiences. He has never had a real job. It's just awesome. He's been an entrepreneur his whole life and been super successful, runs multiple businesses. So let's dive in. So when you're talking about monetizing your mindset, the first step to the whole process is getting your mind to the point where you actually recognize that there is money to be made out there. So many people go through life without even thinking about the opportunities around them. They're completely blind to them. They've been trained to be an employee, trained to be told what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and with very little thought or any thought of how to become a business owner. And for a lot of people, that's fine. They're actually very happy that way. It's not a bad way to be. I'm not saying that at all. There's employees that get paid hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars a year, and they're employees. So I'm not saying anything negative against that. Be an employee. What I'm saying is, what if you could add an extra few $1,000s a month to your income by doing things that you're already doing, by understanding that the opportunities are there? I spoke a few months ago on one of my podcasts with a guest. He was a guest speaker at an event, and the event had sold out, so there was no more tickets left, but there were people out scalping the tickets. They were trying to sell them early and get some money out of it because they were about $1,000 a ticket. Well, nobody was being a broker for them, so even though he was one of the speakers, he was out there brokeraging ticket sales. So he would go to one person and say, hey, I'll buy it for $600. And then once the guy committed to sell it to him for $600, then he'd go to somebody who was looking for a ticket and say, okay, I'll sell it to you for $750 or $800. And so the whole time he's actually speaking up there. He didn't need to be doing this, but his mind just simply operates from a perspective of every little thing that he can make money doing. And that's really where I would like to get to. I'm definitely not there completely yet, but it's a journey, right? There's always going to be more opportunities that you can make money on. And the interesting thing about that is you don't even realize them until you're there, because one, your mind hasn't been trained to think about them, but two, the more opportunities you take, the more opportunities you have. It's kind of like I think it's like Medusa or whatever the snake lady is in Greek mythology, where you cut off one head and then two spring back. That is how opportunities are. Once you start training your mind to see things, you do one opportunity, and oftentimes it leads into multiple opportunities off of the same one, multiple areas where you can be making money. So it's not about taking your job and throwing it out the window and doing that. It's about having multiple streams of income. I was talking with a few of my clients last week, and they're talking about how they have these side businesses, but they haven't really started a proper LLC and started writing stuff off. They've just been living the employee lifestyle, which is fine. Again, nothing wrong with that. But if you have a side hustle, something on the side that you can claim as a business, then you're able to write off a ton of business expenses. Even if the business is not profitable, nowhere does it say that business has to be profitable. All it says is it has to be a business. So go start a business, and as you put money into this, be writing off as much things as possible for taxes. You're now decreasing your tax liability while increasing your knowledge base, and you're not having to pay taxes on the growth of that knowledge base. So that's one area of monetizing your mindset. So how do you do that? One of the things that I've found helpful about monetizing my mindset as far as how to accomplish that is to be thinking every day, how could I make another $10? How could I make another $100? How could I make another $1,000? Ask yourself those questions. What could I do today to get me a few more dollars? As you start to think about that, you're going to start to program your mind to recognize opportunities. Now, this is where we get into the law of attraction field. So many people think the law of attraction is simply thinking something and have it be like a magnet and attracting it to you. Although I also believe that there's a level of that. I think what's much, much more understandable and real is that the more we start thinking about something, the more, because we're thinking about it all the time, the more attuned we are to recognize when those things come up in our lives. So when we start thinking, how could I make another $10 today? How could I make another $100 today? How could I make another $1,000 today? And we ask ourselves those questions every day over and over and over and over, soon our mind just starts to see opportunities to make money, opportunities to lend money to somebody else so that they can pay us interest on it, or opportunities to take our money and go invest it somewhere, or opportunities to go and buy something. Well, I guess this is all still forms of investing, but go and buy something cheap and then sell it for a little bit more, right? All of those opportunities are all there, but it's whether we can make money at them. 4th of July was just last week, right? I was driving down the street by BYU. The BYU Stadium does an awesome fireworks show. Well, during the fireworks show, people come from all over the state and sometimes other states. They come down to see this fireworks show. Well, there's not enough parking on the streets. People are parking 3 and 4 miles away from the stadium just to get to the stadium. Well, really up close to the stadium, all these people who have houses, there was about 50-50. Some of them had sold space on their lawn. Basically, they said, hey, yeah, you can come park here and we'll charge you 10, 15, 20 bucks to park on our lawn. That is an opportunity that maybe they only earn 500, 600 bucks that night, right? That's being optimistic, right? You have a big yard and you're able to get a lot of people in there, pack them in tight, but maybe only earn $100. But guess what? That family didn't have $100 before, but then because they chose to just start charging for it, now they had an extra $100. Now, you might be thinking, well, $100 isn't going to change my life. You're right. Just $100 probably isn't. But as you start to think about all the opportunities where you can earn just another $100, you could definitely earn another $1,200 to $1,300, maybe even $3,000 extra every month by just simply thinking about all the opportunities, right? Maybe you're a business owner and you're a business owner who has tools, but you have tools that you only use maybe once or twice every 3 months. Well, if you have tools that you're only using once or twice every 3 months, why not list those tools, get them insured, so start a business, get business insurance on all of your tools, and then go and rent those tools out when you're not using them. That way, you have basically a tool rental business that supplies your other business with as many tools as you need when you need them, but when you're not using them, they're actually investments. They're actually making you money. Right? I went to, for the 4th of July, I went to a house with some of my family, and this is a giant house. It's awesome. And I was discussing with my brother that I want to have a house similar size and property like this family that we went to visit. And he's like, well, I think it's wrong to build a house and just let it sit. And I completely agree. If you're going to build that big of a house, build it as an investment so that when you're not using that house, when you're personally not there at the house, then you're renting it out or you're Airbnb-ing or some way that you're making money on it. So it's still being used the full time or as much as possible. And all the rest of the time you're making money on it. So effectively, you're not even paying for the house. You're just getting to stay there when you want to. So, there's all these different things, all these different opportunities to start making money. A few years ago, there came out a thing called rideshare, I think it was. And you could just put in there, say, hey, I'm going up to, for me, I would be going up to Salt Lake. Hey, I'm going up to Salt Lake. And as a result of going up to Salt Lake, I could look on this and maybe somebody just needs a quick ride up to Salt Lake. And so I could charge them $5-10 to hop in my car and I could take them up there, drop them off. And I wouldn't have to think about it. That service, I think, evolved into Uber or Lyft. And so now those are the more professional, recognized brands of that service. But it's just a simple thing. Hey, you need a ride up there? Okay, well, I'll give you a ride up there for $10. Deal, right? That's way cheaper than a taxi. I don't know that it's cheaper than driving your own car up there, but if you don't need your own car up there, then $10 is not a bad price to get up there. And so you have to think about all these different opportunities to make money and say, what am I doing right now that I could be making more money on, that I could be selling or doing differently? I think I've talked about this on my podcast, but my wife decided she wanted to train to be a pro golfer. And so Charlie's trained to be a pro golfer. Now, right now, she's not making any money at golfing. And she probably won't make any money at golfing for the next 1.5 to 2 years. But when you think about that 1.5 to 2 years, if you just like practice occasionally, then you can't really write. I mean, you could try and write it off, but it's not as easy. But if you start a business and say, look, my business, it has hired me as to become a professional golfer and to go train. Well, now all the costs of golfing are now a tax write-off, right? All of those costs that typically you'd be just spending and have to make taxes on, now we get to write all of that off. It decreases our income, which increases our tax benefits at the end of the year. Thinking like an entrepreneur helps when you start to see every opportunity you can make a little bit more money. And sometimes you're making money by saving money. Sometimes the way you make money is by not having to spend money that you don't need to spend. And that in and of itself is a way to make money. Sometimes that's overlooked, the idea of saving, right? I work with a lot of people and help them refinance their credit cards, right? Because if somebody's paying 20% interest on $10,000 worth of debt, but they could transfer that debt to a 0% interest credit card off of one paying 25%, well, now they're saving $2,500 a month, $2,500 a year by not incurring costs that they would have otherwise incurred. Sometimes paying off your mortgage faster can actually help you save way more than just a few years on your mortgage. It actually cuts down the interest on the amount of interest you actually have to pay. So there's a lot of different opportunities to actually earn money by decreasing the amount that you have to pay rather than going out and earning more. And I think that the ideal entrepreneur is looking for a marriage of both. How can we still be frugal, not miserly, where we're scared to spend money, but frugal, so we're spending money on what's important to us. And then with that same mindset, spending money on what's important to us, we're also growing our income because we're taking that money that we would have spent, let's say on interest on a credit card or on your house, and we're taking that money, and rather than just not paying it, we're also taking it and reinvesting it into something that's going to grow for us. And so that's really the essence of how do you monetize your mindset? How do you get in the right mindset to start monetizing? We're going to get into a lot more of that on Wednesday when we review Crushing It by Gary V or Gary Vaynerchuk, however you know. And then on Friday from Bart Merrell, we're going to hear how he's done it and how he teaches others to do it, because that's just incredible amounts of information. Super excited for that, and we'll catch you next time on Fuel Your Legacy. Thanks for joining us today. If what you heard resonated with you, please like, comment, and share on social media. Tag me so I can give you a shout out on the next episode. And thanks to all those who have left a review. It helps spread the message of what it really takes to build a legacy that lasts. Catch you next time on Fueling Your Legacy.